This video contains information that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are a viewer and are triggered or shocked by images and need a warning prior to every clip or story being discussed, then please unsubscribe from my channel immediately. My channel covers the harsh reality of even the worst crimes imaginable and is for adults only. For those of you who fit into this category, take this message as your warning and don't watch any further. Yo. Yep. Things are a little bit the same. Things aren't really getting much better. I met with the doctor online today, and he was like, yeah, it just takes time, you know. And the lower part of the wound isn't healing, so he was saying, well, if you were up here, we'd do a vacuum Band-Aid. But, you know, just keep it covered for another week or so. Because it's the lower half, the glue came undone. Well, how would he glue me back up? He's in Seattle. I live in Portland. Yeah, anyways, yeah. So, if there's any improvement in the movement and everything in my arm, it's hard to tell. Okay, it's only been 9 days since the surgery, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna, after 2 weeks, if it's still just shit, I don't know. I'll have to check it out. So that's it. Oh, by the way, one funny note is, you know that I forgot the name of that cream we had. Zoltarin, I think. I put it in the bathroom, right? And then just before I went to bed, I grabbed the tube and put it on, and it turns out it was Sensodyne. It wasn't the Zoltarin. It was freaking toothpaste that I rubbed on my shoulder. Okay, so I guess that's the kind of stuff you do when you're just sort of out of it, right? So then I had to wipe that off, and it was really crazy, though. Yeah. Huh. Nothing better than self-deprecating humor there, huh? Yeah, he had something different than I did, though. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the surgery, isn't what did it. Yeah. He explained to me today how my shoulders were, like if you're looking at me right now, were pushed down this direction, like literally like pushed down, so that they could x-ray from the side to make sure where your vertebrae are, right? And that's exactly where the brachial plexus comes off your neck, and you pull down. And so I think I have a little bit of recovering from surgery, but mainly the brachial plexus stretching shit. So there you go. Yeah, but isn't that crazy? Yeah, I put Sensodyne on my neck. Hey, it felt great. I should have went, wow, this stuff works great. And then realized, oh, Gilligan, you can't fly. And went, oh. Yeah, because I mean, it didn't really work when it was, well, you know, it does have properties in there, I guess, for... Yeah. Ice seems to work pretty good. You know, people are sending me stuff about, oh, they found a body in Colorado. Yeah, there's bodies everywhere, everybody. Okay? I don't know why everybody's so interested in Colorado all the time, every second. You know, it's like there are other bodies found around the country, It just wasn't the place where Chris Watts lived at one time, making this whole state so freaking interesting. You know? It's unbelievable. It's like, because Chris Watts lived in Colorado, every case in Colorado becomes this really popular, interesting case, and if you find a body, therefore it's related to every single other... Hello. Yeah. And then, you know what's even crazier? Lately, there's been 2 articles that have come out that have said, Carroll County prosecutor says there's signatures. Whoa! And it's like, how long ago did that come out, everybody? It was literally like 6-7 months ago. You know, it was just after, the same time that the podcast that me and more, actually the Scene of the Crime put out, right? The same time that was put out, so did HLN put theirs out, and it mentioned it in there. That's where it came from. Why is it new news for these channels out there? It's incredible. God, it's frightening how ridiculous it is. People keep sending me links on, hey, did you see this? Carroll County prosecutor says that it's unbelievable. Okay? It's unbelievable. I talked about it on the show a whole night, and then I've even played the interview that we did with the prosecutor, how he said the crime scene was unusual. No, I'm not even sure what they're doing. It's just unbelievable. I don't know what you're talking about, Karen. I have no clue what you're referring to or anything. Hey, thanks, Emily Flotilla. Which should be Flotilla, but, you know, well... Oh, well, thanks. Oh, I also want to say thank you to...
Hi, everyone. Just a wee bit to help out. Rough month. Love my freak friends.
Oh, well,
heart, heart.
Appreciate it. There's somebody named Calvin who sent me a PayPal that was very generous, so thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what you're referring to, Karen. Does this make sense to anybody? Let me read it. Hi, Gray. My friends and colleagues in Chicago love my new stories about your website. I mean, that's not even good English right there. Please follow up on Jodi Arias, Travis Alexander murder case. I need to know what that means. I can't make it out. So if somebody can decipher that for me, I'd really appreciate it.
Gosh, Gray, you're so mean.
Well, too bad. Okay? I need things to make sense because I got a show to do. I got to keep moving along. Nah, it doesn't really say that, actually. It says, loves my new stories. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Colleagues in Chicago love my new stories about your website. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't have a website. I don't have any, I don't have news stories. I don't think so. I don't know what it is. I need better writing than that. I don't think so. You think that's what that's saying? My friends and colleagues in Chicago love my news stories. Okay, so you're talking about your stories that you tell about what I'm talking about, maybe. But it says about your website. Love my news stories about your website. Okay. Well, what were the stories about my website? And then it says, please follow up on Jodi Arias Travis Alexander murder case. Okay, well, I've made about 1,000 videos on that one. Nah, I don't know, Darlene. I don't agree with you. Okay. All right, I'm going to start covering right now, get on to what the topic was about, all right? I don't have a website. That's what I'm talking about. I don't have one. And she hasn't followed up. Once I said, what does that mean? There's been no follow-up. So all I can assume is that it meant nothing.
Wow, really, Holly? Yes, that's incredible. Hey, everybody, human remains found 18 miles outside of Denver on a disc golf course. It has to be related to all the cases that everybody's talking about.
You know, it very much could be, but it very likely isn't either.
Hey, look at that, everybody. A body was found 37.8 miles away from where Chris Watts was working at Anadarko Oil. Yeah!
Are you sure they didn't let Chris Watts out on a furlough and he's actually responsible for kidnapping Morphew? Oh boy, everybody. Let's really start thinking about that one.
Breaking news, everybody!
Yeah, and here's the thing is I don't even, if it is remains of like Morphew or somebody else, that's awesome. But it's just so ridiculous how it's like everybody is so focused on the same freaking cases. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk about absolutely nothing related to any of the interesting cases that you think are interesting tonight. Okay, so if you only like talking about the ones that you see on all the other YouTube channels, you go ahead and just turn this sucker off right now and get out of here, because I'm going to be talking about cold cases in New Mexico, okay? And they are not ones that any of you have ever heard about, and I'm sure it's very disappointing to you, and you like to keep retreading and discussing the same case ad nauseum over and over and over again, all right? The people who do that are not true crime YouTubers. They're idiots, okay? Now, if there's a case that's ongoing and it's breaking news every single day, that's great. Hey, thanks, Kit Kat.
Mean jail early tonight.
Oh, really? You're telling me right now? Oh, boy. Okay, well, unfortunately, Kit Kat has sent me to jail. Yep. Yep, so mean. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? I hope you realize exactly what I'm saying. Is that you've got these people who say do the same damn case night after. Hey, thanks, Lee Dobby.
A Megazoid.
Oh, look at that. We got Allie Cake and Sarah Brown sending me in enough money to maybe get out. There's some more. We've got Emily Flotilla again. She got me a honey bun. Yeah, these ones are crazy because there were so many of them. I might even there's more. There might be like a part 3. It's incredible what happened in the 80s in like Santa Fe, the Albuquerque area. Not Santa Fe. All right, everybody. Thank you for bailing me out. We've got Allie Cake, Sarah Brown, Emily Flotilla,
Money Grin,
Carolina T. Miss Skis got me some Slim Jims. I always like those Slim Jims. And Michelle Nicholas, I guess that could go to Slim Jims as well. And then Dadio Caspian Horses Rock. We also got some honey bun money from Emily.
For Slim
Flotilla.
Jims.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Oh, ramen. I mean, who the hell doesn't like ramen, for God's sake?
Gray, get out of jail.
Ding, 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 ding. I need more money to make some hooch and some oven bags. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Liz Parsons. And Gen H.
Honey bun
As
money.
in Generation H. Well, I'm sure it's more than one bag, you know. Like, I got like 10 bags of ramen for $5. You know, it's bulk, right? Right, Steven? Yeah, Top Ramen is sort of like a miracle food, isn't it? It weighs nothing until you put the water in it, and then it's like...
Ramen, ramen.
Round and round.
Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Wow. It just keeps clicking away. But yes, in 4 days, on the 31st, we'll be doing the monthly donation. So get ready for that night. Well, thank you guys for bailing me out of jail. Kit Kat was so mean to put me in there. I think I would put her in jail if she was here right now. Okay, here we go, everybody. The first one we're going to be talking about tonight is Beverly Ann, I don't know if that's Riccio or how you pronounce R-I-C-C-I-O. There's probably some Italian way to type it in. So don't type it in how, you know, if you're going to help me out with the sounding of it, phonetically spell it. Probably like Riccio, right? Or Riccio or something. All right, so this is 1981, November. City probes stab death of woman. It's kind of a weird title, though, right? When you put stabbing death or something. City police today are continuing an investigation into the stabbing death of a Santa Fe woman found on the floor of her apartment Saturday, according to Chief of Detectives Captain Rick Montoya. Violence was the order of the Thanksgiving weekend as police were called out to investigate other incidents, including rape, armed robbery, and stabbings, according to reports. Beverly Ann Riccio, 33, who also is known as Honey, H-O-N-E, was found on the floor of her living room in her apartment at... So I think I have this... No, I haven't done that one yet. All right, so I'll do it off to the side. It is 2278 Camino Capitan, and that looks like that's in it's in Santa Fe. So that is Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah, see all these other, look at these other things that are going on over there. So let's see if that goes, if we go back in time, I don't know if that's a specific, yeah, it looks the same in 1991-ish, but, so it said 2278 Camino Capitan, so I don't know which house that absolutely belongs to right there, but that's the address. Weird how you get that sometimes, but okay, so her apartment at 2278 Camino Capitan by the owner of the building. So she was found by the owner of the building, who had been trying to contact the woman Saturday morning. Riccio's death is the 4th homicide in the city this year. Montoya said the woman was stabbed numerous times in the chest and had apparently fought with the attacker before she died. Montoya said police believe Riccio died Friday night. She was found before noon Saturday. And see, everything that we're talking about tonight, other than two of them, have been solved. I mean, or unsolved. Two of them were solved by, I believe, a serial killer, to be honest with you. And, well, I think he is technically a serial killer. Montoya said robbery apparently was not a motive, and that an autopsy will determine. And I actually think he killed some of these other women. He just didn't admit to it because he wasn't directly tied to it at the time. According to Montoya, Riccio was the manager of the 4-unit apartment complex that she lived in. She originally was from New York State, where her stepmother was contacted. He said the apartment building was unoccupied at the time of the stabbing, apparently because the other tenants had left town for the holiday weekend. Okay, I think that is it for that original article. And then we've got Santa Fe Crime Stoppers is seeking the person responsible for a murder in South Santa Fe on November 28th. Santa Fe police received a call about an apparent murder at 273. Okay, and that, I think that's different than what we had before. Yeah. Okay, 273. All right, here we go. Huh. Well, that's again not really in a...
Freaks. What up, Gary? What up, freaks?
Gary.
Hey, thanks Darrell Greggs and Walter Densmore.
Yeah, some of these addresses just don't seem...
Keep up the amazing work, Gray.
Camino
Thumbs up, medium, light skin tone, thumbs up, medium, light skin tone, thumbs up, medium, light skin tone, thumbs up, medium, light skin tone.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a quick question. It's just hypothetical. You know that the new case of the shooting of the guy in the back. I forgot his first name. Like, is it Jacob or I can't remember now, but he got he got shot in the back by the police, right? Because basically, he wasn't listening to the commands of the police. He walked around to the front of his car and then he lunged into the front seat. So let me ask you a question really quick. Let's say he lunged in, grabbed a gun, and blew the officer's brains out. Would they be doing boycotting NBA games if that had happened? And I would say no. The answer would be no. And why not? Okay? Should they let him grab whatever he was going to grab? All right. Hey, thanks, Darrell Gray.
My daughter is being stalked by a 35-year-old man. I need help finding his criminal record.
Oh, crazy. Yeah, we're covering something else right now, but yeah. Yeah. But don't you think it's weird? Like, let's say they let him grab whatever he was going to grab, and then he turned around and shot the cop. Would the NBA have canceled their games? Just yes or no. What do you think? And I would say no. See, isn't that sick? I think that's sickening, and you know that's the truth. Okay. I hate using that kind of logic, but it's just the absolute reality of it. And I find that really disturbing. Okay, so here we go. I don't know, you know what, both these addresses, you can't really find them. Like 273, number 4 investigators believe Beverly Ann Honey Riccio died the previous night. So they'd found her, but they think she died the night before. Anyone with information that could lead to the arrest and indictment of the people involved in this or any other major crime could receive $1,000 in cash by providing information. So there was the Crime Stoppers. It really, there wasn't a ton on this one. But what's nice is you can find these articles that recap everything later, like years later. So this crime happened in 1981, when in 1989, there's a breakdown of it right here. She was known to her friends as Honey. She was a waitress at the Legal Tender in Lamy. So isn't that weird? That's that Lamy. Remember Lamy, New Mexico? That was the other case that we were talking about. Right? See, there's Lamy. The culvert. Yeah, just, you know, I don't know what's going on around here, but there seems like there was something going on. I don't know if it's a serial killer or what, but that's what I'm suspecting. There was something going on in that realm. And one of them, two of them were killed by a serial killer. That's a guarantee. And she worked at, what was it called? The Legal Tender. Let's see. I wonder if it's still called that now. Ah, look at that. Legal Tender Saloon. It's still there. Unbelievable. You might be able to, well, there's a few people that have background checks and whatnot. CC. But yeah. I just don't know what to tell you in the middle of the show about something else. How come like 9 of you are having her email you? Just pick one of you and have her email. Okay, so she doesn't have to waste her time sending emails to every single one of you. Okay. Maybe he just likes her a lot. I'm kidding. Why would she look up crime? I don't get it. A lot of weird shit going on in the chat right now. Okay, well, let me know when you guys are done with that topic. I'll get back to this one.
At CC, look up Crime Talk YouTube channel.
My God. You've got 8 people sending out emails. No, I'm just going to wait because I don't want everybody to keep it, you know, we can talk about it later, or I don't know what you guys want to do. I'm trying to do a show about the New Mexico cases right now. And it seems like everybody's talking about something in specific here. I don't want to sound like I'm, what do you call it? You know, not sensitive. I mean, it sucks that you have something like that. There's people gave you your email address, but the problem is we're talking about this, and these cases deserve to be discussed right now. No, I understand, CC, but it's now the topic's all changed, so I just want to make sure we can get back onto the. I mean, it's always good. You can just always send me, yeah, you can send me the letter and the email and stuff like that. But is it okay if I get back to what we're talking about? Because I don't want to read it tonight during the show or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, so you can go ahead and send it to me, CC, and then I know that there's people out there that have background checks and whatnot. Yeah, it's not really like a class. It's just I want to make sure that, you know, these cases are really old and deserve to be listened to, and people can think about them, and you know, something might trigger them to know something. That's all I'm trying to say here. Okay, so Yeah, it took me basically the whole day getting these all together. Okay, so just send me an email and can we get back to the topic? Okay, cool. And see, other people go, God, that's so mean. He didn't care. No, I do care what she's talking about. It's just not the right place to be talking about it. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to get back to this. She was known to her friends as Honey. She was a waitress at the Legal Tender in Lamy, a professional massage. Oh, there you go. The manager of the small Southside Santa Fe apartment complex. Let's see. She was a waitress at the... Oh, and a manager. We already discussed that. Let me see what this looked like here. Look at that. There's actually street view in this small little town. Look at that right there. That's crazy. Yeah, right there, Vicky. Look at that little... A professional massage. I mean, it didn't say parlor, did it? Seems like it changes a little bit once you... Two days after Thanksgiving 1981, her landlord found Beverly Ann Riccio stabbed to death on her living room floor. She had apparently died on Friday, the day before her body was found. Riccio had been in Santa Fe for less than 2 years, said Police Sergeant Paula Gundler last week. Her mother lived in Corpus Christi, Texas, according to 1981 newspaper accounts. Riccio was originally from New York. Grundler said that the woman was found fully clothed and had not been raped. There was no indications of forced entry into the apartment and no sign of burglary. However, evidence such as overturned furniture pointed to a tremendous struggle in the room where Riccio died, but apparently no one heard the fight. None of the other tenants of the 4-unit apartment complex on Camino Capitan were home that weekend, probably because the holiday, police said. Oh man, that's just a nightmare. She was there all by herself. According to a newspaper account, shortly after the killing, Police Captain Rick Montoya said she had been stabbed 16 times, including once in the side of her face, about 2 inches below her left eye. Police do not have a picture of Riccio when she was alive, Grundler said. Police investigators came up with several theories about who might have killed the petite Riccio. A good possibility, Grundler said, is that the killer was a massage client of Riccio's who often performed massages in her home. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering about the nature of these massages, you know. Gundler noted that most professional massages have appointment books or calendars. However, none was found. So maybe the person stole that when they left. None was found at her home nor in her brown 1976 Volkswagen hatchback. Police never obtained any client list for Riccio, and none of her former clients have come forward to police. Riccio was also involved in drugs, and that could have been a motive in the slang. Riccio had been in an argument with a neighbor on Thanksgiving Day. The argument was over a loud party. The neighbor was cleared by a polygraph test. Boy, yeah, for something that is not admissible in court, they sure use those a lot to clear people. Right? It's crazy. All right. A more exotic theory involved Riccio's interest in the occult. She had literature dealing with the occult and diaries of occult rituals and spells she had cast. Oh boy. Rundler said that Riccio was not involved with Satanism. There were no indications that her death was a ritual killing. A few days after the killing, Riccio's friends held a seance to see if the other world could offer any clues to the killer's identity. Then they got an EVP reader and a psychic to join, and wow, fun and joy was all had by all. Hey, thanks, BKK. A few days, let's see. However, neither the spirits nor the police were able to identify a suspect in the killing of Honey Riccio. So that's never been solved. Okay, now it's right there. 2378. There it is, finally. I mean, what a ridiculous... Both articles didn't put the full address in there. And the first one was wrong. So it's 22... Wait, excuse me. Let me go back to that again. 2378, right? Was that right? 2378. So they had 2278 in the one article. That's still the same. Oh, there it is. Boom. Finally. Now we can just move this right there to that apartment. And that looks like that's been there the entire time. So isn't that wild? Just right here. She's in one of these units right there and just gets brutally murdered basically the day after Thanksgiving. Crazy, huh? So that's it on that one. What do you guys think? I mean, it's almost impossible to know exactly. What seems the most likely is that, you know, maybe it is a client and they came over and said, you know, like he thought that she, I mean, not that he really thought that she liked him, but like, you know, if it happens to be one of the happy ending type massage places, you know, maybe he found out where she lived and then thought, you know, they could do some more stuff at the house, but she totally rejected him, and then he just went berserk because he's a psychopath, right? In the I'm sure there's mentions in different articles, but this was this article I just read was 9 years later. Yeah, it's still unsolved. Oh, there is an article that I have that kind of breaks down and gives you just a really general information on all of these. It's right here. This guy right here. Yeah, we're doing Riccio right here. So, died November 1981. She was a waitress, and this article is from 2017, so it's the most recent one. She was a waitress at the legal tender in Lamy, as well as a professional masseuse. The native New Yorker was found dead in her apartment at 2378 Camino Capitan the day after Thanksgiving. She had been stabbed 16 times. Overturned furniture indicated a struggle between the killing. Nearly 10 years later, in August 1991, police and then District Attorney Chet Walter announced the case had been solved, but the suspect, a man who had been arguing with Riccio several days before, had died. Neither Walter nor police would name the suspect. So they're saying they think it was solved. Maybe the guy that she was arguing with before Thanksgiving. But it's still open, you know. So if you solved it, you should just close it. But the guy died, so I mean, I hate those scenarios, don't you? Because there's no resolution at that point. Oh, we know who did it, but they died a while ago, and we're just not going to pursue it. Okay, so then why do you still have it listed then? But I think they're referring to the the person that was arguing with the day before, don't you think? Okay, so the next one is Susan LaPorte. Okay, and here we go. This one is 1985, December 7th. Air and ground searches on Friday failed to locate a 25-year-old Boston woman who disappeared from Santa Fe in a borrowed car Wednesday morning. Santa Fe Police Lieutenant Gilbert Ulibarri said investigators don't suspect foul play in the disappearance of Susan LaPorte, but the missing woman's friends suspect otherwise, noting she left behind her clothing and a wallet containing cash and identification. Miss LaPorte is 5'6", 125 pounds, with blue eyes and wavy, dirty blonde, shoulder-length hair, cut short in front. She was last known to be wearing a tweed coat, a tweed coat with brown boots, and was probably wearing slacks or jeans. She arrived in Santa Fe November 26th to visit Reed's girlfriend. So she went to visit her girlfriend, Deborah Moody. And, you know, what's funny is, like, women can say, oh, I'm going to go meet my girlfriend, and that's okay. But if a guy said, hey, I'm going to go meet my boyfriend, immediately they're gay, right? Like if I said, oh, I'm going to go meet my boyfriend. I mean, how come guys can't say that too? Not that I'd want to say it that way, but I always think it's weird when girls say, hey, I'm going to go meet my girlfriend. I guess that's just girl code again, right? Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I always notice these things that are sort of different in society, right? But you know people do that all the time, Miss Giss, right? They often say, yeah, me and my two girlfriends were going to the... And then Zozo calls her male significant other a partner, where most people here wouldn't refer to it that way. Usually when somebody says partner, you're referring to a same-sex individual, unless you're referring to a business relationship. Like I would never refer to my wife as my partner, you know? Right, and the thing is girls can, you know how when they go to a party, they hug each other, hold each other's hands sometimes, kiss each other on the cheeks. Well, imagine a guy doing the exact same thing. Right. Okay. Miss LaPorte is 5'6" inches tall, about 125 pounds, with blue eyes and wavy, dirty blonde, shoulder-length hair, cut short in front. She was last known to be wearing a tweed coat with brown boots and was probably wearing slacks and jeans. She arrived in Santa Fe November 26th to visit Reed's girlfriend, Deborah Moody, and had been staying at the couple's house on Jose Street. She took Miss Moody to work at the James Reed Gallery on Palace Avenue at 9:30 a.m. I wonder if that's still there. Let's see. And this is LaPorte, which is right, that one. Okay, so her friend lived in this area over here. Jose Street, so it's just right, there's only a little bit of... And then the James Reed Gallery. Huh. Well, there it is, James Reed Ltd. It's right there. By God, it's still there. Santa Fe is a pretty big art community. My biological father moved us there when we were young kids. Albuquerque, not so much. And that was at what time? That was 9:30 a.m. So she took her there. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. So she took her there at 9:30. Drop off Moody. There you go. And was supposed to pick her up at 1 p.m. So she was murdered between 9:30 and 1. Okay, so she was supposed to pick her up at 1 p.m. LaPorte was driving his red 1978. Now, when it says his red, I think he was driving the boyfriend of Moody. What's weird about this, it says Reed said Miss LaPorte was driving his red. Well, what's weird about Reed, oh, I guess it does mention she took Miss Moody to work at the James Reed LTD Gallery on Palace Avenue. But then all of a sudden there's a Reed here that's R-E-E-D. You know, so I don't know if that's the same one, and it doesn't mention Reed prior to that, which is confusing to me. Reed said Miss LaPorte was driving his red 1978 Honda Accord, which also is missing. Miss LaPorte told Miss Moody she planned to find, so this is what Susan LaPorte told Moody was, hey, you know, I'm going to go find a sunny spot along the road where I can go read. Miss Moody and Reed assumed she meant the Sky Basin Road, since that was the only place they had taken her outside of Santa Fe. It was Miss LaPorte's first visit to Santa Fe, Reed said. Among Miss LaPorte's personal belongings, only her book, Acceptable Losses it's called, by Irwin Shaw, and the clothing she had on are missing. So the clothing she had on and the book she apparently was going to go read in the sun are missing. Investigation continues on LaPorte. Santa Fe police said Sunday the 25-year-old Boston woman whose body was found in the foothills. So her body was found not too long after that. It was just her body was found in the foothills west of the city Saturday morning, was killed before her friends even discovered her missing. Hey, thanks, Fiber Sleuth. An autopsy conducted by the Office of the Medical Investigator in Albuquerque Sunday confirmed that Susan LaPorte, who had been visiting friends in Santa Fe since November 26, was strangled to death. Thanks, Fiber Sleuth and Alley Cake. Very kind, very kind. So she was strangled to death. You know, she drops her friend off at a gallery and says, hey, I'm going to go read a book. And the book's missing and her clothing. They've recovered her car, and she is been strangled to death. Probably as she pulled over, somebody
had to wait for calm waters. My spine can't handle those rough waves. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yep. Thank you. An autopsy conducted by the Office of the Medical Investigation in Albuquerque Sunday confirmed that Susan LaPorte, who had been visiting friends in Santa Fe since November 26th, was strangled to death Wednesday morning, said Lieutenant Gilbert Ulibarri, head of the Police Investigation Division. LaPorte, a computer programmer for the Boston YMCA. Wow, really? 1985? Jesus. Was last seen about 10 a.m. Wednesday when she dropped a friend off at work at the James Reed Gallery on Palace Avenue. Let's see if that's correct. I bet you it is. Yep, Palace Avenue. So this is where she dropped her friend off at work. Right here. I don't know if they changed the name of it now, but... yeah. It's one of these galleries right here. Maybe this was what it was before. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it's actually this building right there, so let me... oh, so it's this one right there. Yeah. Well, I mean, whoa, that was weird. Let me check that out. Hold on a second. I want to look at that painting that was in there. That looked like one of my dad's. Biological dad, anyway. He has paintings in galleries in Santa Fe. And wouldn't that be crazy? To be looking at that? All right. The detective said evidence indicates LaPorte drove her friend's 1978 red Honda to a, let's see, pinnon covered ridge. It says Pinon, overlooking the city off a dirt road a quarter-mile north of Salina Park. Let's see if we can find that. I think they call it Solana Park. Oh, there we go. Maybe that's Santa Fe. Why don't they change the name? Okay, well that's interesting because she lived right there. But no, that was the other place. God, that's crazy. So this is Solana Street, so maybe there's a park around here. Like maybe that's Solana Park.
Love my freak fam and you grey. Chloe and blue too.
Well, thank you. Chrissy Paradis. That's a cemetery. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that park is. Doesn't seem... I mean, there's the street. A street called Solana Street, but, you know, maybe the park changed the name over the years. Park, Santa Fe Park. I don't know. I guess it disappeared. Doesn't exist anymore. Okay, we believe that she got out of the car to walk around a bit and encountered whoever killed her. So they probably have her footprints. LaPorte's body was discovered after a jogger recognized the car from a story about the missing woman in Saturday's newspaper. He called police, who searched the area and found the body across the road about 100 yards north of the parked car. Wow, that's a nightmare. Jeez. That means she probably tried to get away and then... What do you mean? How are they more difficult to follow? You mean how things don't exist anymore? Was that what you're talking about? Yeah. It's hard to deal with when, you know, you have a park and then one day they change the name of the park, right? Because somebody donated some money and... Yeah, that part sucks. But, you know, all the other parts we got, right? We got the... in this case, we have where they were living. I think... Let's see. Yeah, so this is where they were living. And then she dropped off her friend here at the gallery. And then I'm kind of thinking that the... It's just hard to tell. Foothills, is it over in that direction? See, the thing is that park doesn't seem to exist anymore. Maybe if you guys looked it up on Google and see if you can... Here, I'll try it. Jesus. I'm not even sure I can get through all these cases tonight, so there might be a part 3. Solana Park. I wonder if they spelled that wrong. Wouldn't that be shit? Well, why don't one of you guys look it up? I just want to know where the park is. I don't need any other information about it. So we believe that she got out of the car to walk around a bit, encountered whoever killed her. LaPorte's body was discovered after a jogger recognized the car from a story about the missing woman in Saturday's newspaper. He called police, who searched the area and found the body across the road about 100 yards north of the parked car. Ulibarri said the evidence indicates the thin 5'6" woman was killed at this location and was not carried or dragged to the spot. So she ran away and he caught her. He refused to say whether LaPorte had been sexually assaulted. Police are focusing their investigation on the area where the car and body were found. Let's see. And focusing on the time between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Wednesday when LaPorte is believed to have been killed. Yep. Detective Ramiro Flores, who is handling the investigation, said police have received more than a dozen calls from people who reported seeing the missing car parked on the dirt road. Flores and Ulibarri are asking anyone who may have seen LaPorte, her car, or anything suspicious in the area to call Santa Fe police. Both Flores and Ulibarri said they believe LaPorte's murder is an isolated incident and is not connected with the slayings of at least 3 other women. How do you know? In the Santa Fe area over the past 3 years. While police believe some of those killings are linked because of the violent way the victims were killed, Ulibarri said the LaPorte slaying and have none of those similarities. That's right, crazy girl codes.
Crazy girl codes.
Sunday's revelations did little to comfort LaPorte's friends. LaPorte, and the other guy's name is Al Reed and Deborah Moody. LaPorte had been staying with Reed and Moody during a long-planned visit to Santa Fe to see Moody, a college friend. It was Moody Hold on, let me try. I gotta move my arm around a little bit. Fuck. Oh, God. Brutal. It was Moody. LaPorte was supposed to meet Wednesday afternoon, and it was Reed's car she borrowed to go find a sunny place to read. The shock of her death and the uncertainty during the 3 days of her disappearance had taken their toll. Reed said when they first reported LaPorte missing Wednesday, they had the impression that city and state police and the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office did not take them seriously. We knew something was wrong immediately. Susan was a serious, responsible person. See, this is what I always talk about, is police need to listen better to people who know the personalities of the person. And when they say that there's something wrong, take it seriously and start looking. Okay? Don't say, you know, if they mention, oh, well, they've run away 3 or 4 other times, then I get what you're saying. But when you have people that know them, then drop everything and do what you're supposed to be doing. I hate the shit where, well, wait a couple days, let's see if... Now, adding to the uncertainty were the facts that LaPorte did not know anyone in Santa Fe, did not know her way around the area, and had left behind her wallet and identification. I don't think that complicated it whatsoever. Okay, you found her and you knew who it was because she was reported missing. Adding to the the friends approached newspapers and radios asking for help finding LaPorte. By Friday, Reed had hired an airplane to fly over the Hyde Park Road, the only area where LaPorte had traveled before. Let me see if that's still there. Hyde Park Road. Okay, so apparently this is a place that, you know, that's the gallery, that's where they live, and they had driven her up on that road, so they thought maybe she was off of that road somewhere. So that's where her friends had them search. Later that day, a state police plane conducted the air search. Ulabari was asked what city police procedure is for searching for missing persons. It's a myth that authorities don't start looking for people unless they've been missing for 72 hours. That's not a myth. I mean, I know that you guys do it quicker and everything, but sometimes you don't make it that serious. You might do a couple little things here and there. We start the search immediately after they are reported missing. In LaPorte's case, he said, Wednesday afternoon, police broadcast a description of the missing woman and the vehicle locally and teletyped the information to police agencies. I can understand how families feel when their loved ones are missing. I'm sure they all feel that we don't do enough. The one thing I can say is that we take every report seriously and try to act on them. We try to act on them. Okay. Well, that right there admits that you don't always do that. Okay, now here's one. This article now is 2006. And there's actually a picture of the car. You know what I can probably do? It's going to sound crazy, but if I go down to Street View here, let me just check something out here. I'm just going to go right there. It kind of just depends on how mountainous it is, but yeah, that's tough. Yes, I think the foothills are talking about those high mountains over here. Maybe it's these mountains over here, but just a different angle or something. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I think it's like maybe right there. I know it's kind of a crazy way to do it, but with nothing else. Yeah, and these are the foothills right here, right? So I bet you it's up in this area somewhere. That's just my guess. Ugh. 25-year-old Susan LaPorte's first visit to Santa Fe in 1985 was also her last. This article is written 20 years later. LaPorte had been in Santa Fe for several days, shopping, skiing, and visiting museums with her best friend from college, when she was found raped and killed in foothills north of town. And let's see, do I have that north? So what's north of town? Like, that's town, so maybe over here, or could it be... Huh. There isn't really any foothills over here, though. Maybe they'll be more specific here in a second. When she was found raped and killed in the foothills north of town on December 7th, 1985. More than 20 years later, Santa Fe detectives have not forgotten her unsolved homicide. Santa Fe detective Tony Trujillo said last week that police are looking at persons of interest in connection with LaPorte's strangulation death, and they recently enlisted the help of an FBI profiler. Investigators believe the killer may be a Santa Fe area local. Deborah Moody, the friend whom LaPorte came to Santa Fe to visit and one of the last people to see LaPorte alive, also hasn't forgotten her best friend's brutal slaying. Like LaPorte, Moody was 25 in 1985. Moody had lived in Santa Fe for about a year when she invited LaPorte to come to New Mexico for a vacation from her computer programming job with the YMCA in Boston. During a recent interview at a local restaurant, Moody said she still remembers letting LaPorte borrow her car the morning of December 4th. I thought it was Reed's car. 1985. LaPorte wanted to find a quiet place to read while Moody worked in her local art gallery. Moody said she knew something was wrong when Moody didn't pick her up from work at 5 p.m. that afternoon as planned. I remember standing in the kitchen in my neighbor's and saying, "This isn't right," Moody said. Days later, Moody had to identify LaPorte's partially clothed body bound with rope. Whoa. So this is new information here. So that means she was sexually assaulted and she was bound with rope. No. She also had to call LaPorte's mother and father in Vermont to break the news. Man, that must have been brutal. Susan LaPorte's father, Phil LaPorte, now 71, said he remembers coming to Santa Fe from Vermont with his then wife to identify and bring back the body. The worst was when we went to the funeral home. The worst thing was they wouldn't release the body to us, Phil LaPorte said. Authorities would not give up the body until an autopsy was complete. The vision of walking up to Susan, she was covered in a sheet, and my thought at my first glance was, it's not her. It's not her. And I wanted to believe it so much. Phil LaPorte compared losing his daughter to an amputation. Once it's gone forever, he said. It's like a handicap. It's something you have to live with. And after a while, you start to get used to it because you don't really have a choice. Moody, now 45, remained in Santa Fe despite the dark and difficult memories of her best friend today. Best friend, I guess it just says. Wait, no, it goes further down, actually. Hold on. Moody, now 45, has remained in Santa Fe despite the dark and difficult memories of her best friend's death. Okay, sorry. Today, Moody is married to a man who was a boyfriend back in 1985 when LaPorte came to visit. And she works as an event, so that means it's the Reed person. And she works as an events planner at the College of Santa Fe. Moody said she was in therapy for years after losing her best friend. Even today, she's with me every day, Moody said of Susan. Moving away from Santa Fe wouldn't have done me any good, Moody added. Nothing that she had her boyfriend, a network of friends here at the time of LaPorte's death. Or noting, she said. Let's see, it said. Wouldn't have done me any good, Moody added. Noting she had her boyfriend and network of friends, blah, 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 blah. Moody said in the week or so before Susan LaPorte's disappearance, they had fun in Santa Fe. Susan, Moody recalls, was blown away by the vistas in the city different. In the city different. I don't even know what that. What is city different? I guess that's a place because it's capitalized. Phil LaPorte said that in the years since his daughter's homicide, he has entertained thoughts of trying to hunt down the killer himself, but recently Phil LaPorte said he has been buoyed by Trujillo's dedication to the case. Years ago, Trujillo made a commitment, and he was sincere, Phil LaPorte said, and he said, I'm going to solve this case. And I said, my God, there's hope. Well, hopefully they have DNA on this one. And they did all the right rape kits and everything. I mean, 85's pretty, at a time where you might start collecting stuff. People did it in the 60s, so. An FBI profiler in Quantico, Virginia, has helped create a profile of whoever was responsible for the crime. Moody expressed complex emotions at the thought of police finding LaPorte's killer. Finding the killer isn't going to stop me from loving or missing Susan, Moody said. But Moody added that she appreciates Santa Fe detectives for remembering her lost friend. Phil LaPorte, who still regularly visits his daughter's grave to say prayers, said finding the killer would mean a lot. I don't care if the asshole, probably, something like that, is dead as long as we can say, this is the person, he said. It's never too late. Trujillo will say only that there are persons of interest. Police are looking at it in connection with the case. Evidence at the scene. So here we go. Back in 1985, Susan LaPorte was found dead on December 7th. The same day, a passing jogger discovered Moody's red Honda that LaPorte had been driving. LaPorte's body was found in an arroyo. An arroyo is like a little tiny miniature canyon formed by water rushing fast. An arroyo about a couple hundred yards from the Honda. A young Santa Fe police officer named Beverly Lennon, who later became the something city's first female police chief, found the body during a search. The general area of crime scene off Camino de... Oh, man. Here we go. Let's see if we can find this now. Yeah, it's the one part that's a little cut off, right? Of course. Camino de las... There. Right there. Okay. Okay, so it's saying not far from the old city landfill. The general area of the crime scene off Camino del, not far from the old city landfill. So this is that road. So I guess maybe she drove out this way. And then they say a landfill. Is that what this is? Yeah, that looks like that would be a landfill right there. So crime scene somewhere around out in here, I guess. Here, let me go down to here and check this out. Yeah, I don't really see that as the foothills, though, right? The area was much more isolated. Yeah. Let's see. Is today a developed neighborhood with houses dotting the landscape and steady traffic passing through, but back in 1985 the area was much more isolated. As far as police know, there were no witnesses. Trujillo said police have the suspect's DNA. Oh, there you go. Left at the scene of the homicide in 1985. The science of identifying suspect through DNA was still in its infancy. Well, yeah, I mean, it's still in its infancy when this was written. Okay, because you guys have it. Man, I should call over there. Because once you have DNA, man, you should just resubmit that sucker, like, right now, you know. Wow. Okay. The indications are it was a big guy. In addition to the suspect's DNA, police recovered other physical evidence at the scene, including a size 11 boot print, probably left behind by the assailant. The indications are it was a big guy, and his strides were pretty long. The patterns left by the suspect's footprints suggest that the suspect approached LaPorte from behind while Moody's car was parked off a dirt road in the foothills. The footprints indicate that LaPorte ran from her attacker, that's what I was thinking, into the arroyo where she was killed. Man, what a freaking nightmare that must have been. Wow. I mean, Jesus. You're trying to run away, you don't even know where the hell you're at. You run into an arroyo, the guy's after you, and then he strangles, assaults you, strangles you, and kills you. Killed, and she fought back during a struggle. The book that LaPorte was reading that day, Acceptable Losses by Irwin Shaw, was left on the passenger seat of the Honda. So she was going to try to read that. The suspect left behind the nylon rope he used to strangle and bind LaPorte during her sexual assault. Trujillo said the instinctive knots used on the single piece of rope used to strangle LaPorte and tie her hands has led investigators to believe that whoever killed her had expertise with ropes. Whoever killed LaPorte left footprints that go all the way to the pavement of St. Francis Drive. Okay, now this could help us here. Man, it just got way more interesting, but also a lot more sad. Let's see. St. Francis Drive. Okay. It's going to be right around in this area, I would imagine, right? Okay, so that's St. Francis Drive, so it must go all the way up. Yeah, St. Francis Drive. Okay, and that goes north. And so that's where I was thinking maybe, but it sounds like it's up. Maybe the landfill's higher up here or something. Let's see. Yeah, I wonder what that seems like a landfill, but maybe it wasn't. Yeah, so this is it right here. So they're saying right up to the and they also mention what was the other road that they mentioned? I thought it was this one. Buckman Road? That didn't sound right. No, that's just where I guessed right there. I forgot the name of that first area we were searching. Now I want to like move them together. No, it's this one right here, right? Camino del Los Montoya area, they said. Wow, but they said that you could see his footprints go right back to this St. Francis Drive right here. It's wild. I don't think it's going to be good enough to figure it out. He hopes that someone who knows something... Let's see. Whoever killed LaPorte left footprints that go all the way to the pavement of St. Francis Drive where they disappeared. Trujillo said he hopes that someone who knows something about who left those footprints back in December 1985 will come forward to help catch a killer and give Susan LaPorte's still grieving friends and family peace. Well, they said that DNA was still in its infancy, but they have it. Man, they just got to get going with that. Like now. Oh, there it is. The general area of the crime scene off Camino de las Crucitas. Right? Isn't that what that other road was? That was right. Oh, okay. And now we're getting somewhere now. Because this is the St. Francis. Okay. So it's right in this area. Right here is where the crime scene is. Right around here. And like they said, it's developed now, but it wasn't back then. So let's see if we go back to 1991, which is about usually what the last one that they had, 91. Yeah, so it was even developed then, but I guess apparently like in 86 there wasn't anything there. But this is the Camino del Las Crucitas, and then here is the highway that they mentioned, St. Francis, and then you can see his footprints go all the way back to the... Yeah, maybe it's over here more, perhaps. You know, since it's generally in that area. How about we go like this? And just... here. You know, maybe that was the old landfill right there or something. Yeah, what a nightmare though, huh? Anyways. Man, that one's crazy. I mean, just think about how wild that is. She goes there to visit her friends from Boston. And then she goes, drops her friend off at the gallery at 9:30 in the morning. And says, hey, I'm going to go read my book. I'm going to go find some sun. Goes and parks the car. And then while starting to read her book, somebody sneaks up behind her. And she freaks out, gets out of the car, and runs away into an arroyo. The person catches her, rapes her, strangles her to death. But probably she was alive for a while because you wouldn't have bound her. Right? So she was bound and raped, probably gagged or something, but maybe he took that with her. Then he strangled her at the end because he didn't want a witness. But he left his DNA there. He didn't just chase her down and strangle her because there wouldn't have been bindings on her hands. At least that's my opinion. Well, I'm only going to just do one more here. I can't go. I'm going to just, do one more and then get to sleep here. Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's been all of a sudden it died down there, BBL. We're not going to catch up to last month. But that's okay. We've been doing so
Love
good.
cold cases. Thanks, Gray, for keeping them alive. 20.
Wow, that was a different accent there. Did you hear that one? That was, I think, Megan. Thank you. Oh, and then also Rochelle Black. So thank you very much. On PayPal. You juju positive. All right, now we're going to go to Roberta Michelle Montoya. And so they think that this one and this one are related based on another article. But let's just go to them individually. See, I don't know if this is her, but I thought it might have been. So I included it.
We got this.
Awesome. Thank you. So this one's Montoya Cheek, but it says Roberta and Neva Montoya of Santa Fe announced the engagement of their daughter. So I don't know. I mean, that's what her name's going to be, Roberta Montoya. It's in Santa Fe. It seems like it's the right age. He even mentions California. Right there, the couple will live in California. So I don't know. And then in 1980, remains found Sunday are California woman. So there you go. The skeletal remains found this week near the old Las Vegas highway southeast of Santa Fe are those of an Irvine, California woman. Medical examiners determined Thursday. Roberta Michelle Montoya. So I don't know if that's the same person, but I included it just in case. And let me see if they had a last name. Maybe that would usually do that on the wedding. Roberta and then daughter Roberta. No, it's Roberta Ann. So that probably isn't the same one. Wow, how crazy is that though? In Santa Fe, lives in California, and you have the same exact. That's probably freaking her out, to be honest with you. Thanks, Emily Flotilla. Ah, shit.
Cup of coffee.
I'm just going to do this last one. My neck's killing me right now. Ah, Jesus. Roberta Michelle Montoya, who would have turned 20 years old today, was visiting Santa Fe when her aunt reported her missing last July. Foul play is suspected, although the cause of death has not been determined. We're going to investigate this as though it was a homicide, said Montano, who has headed the investigation. Investigators did not find clothing among the remains, so she was nude. Let's see. The remains were discovered Sunday by a man walking his dog on the west side of the road. The remains were spotted about a mile south of the Bobcat Bite restaurant. So I think I did that, which is crazy because it's still there again. The Bobcat Bite. And here's the yeah, there it was right there. I was just had it. So there's the Bobcat Bite. And there it is. Look at that. So that building's still sitting, whatever that building, they're just using it as a reference though. Where the hell is that part? Where's Michelle Montoya visited Santa Fe, said foul play is suspected. We're going to investigate. This is it's a homicide. Yeah, there it is right there. The remains were spotted about a mile south of the Bobcat Bite restaurant under a grove of trees. Not find any clothing Sunday. Not find any clothing. One of the remains discovered Sunday by a man walking his dog on the west side of the road. So he's on this side of the road, a mile south of here. Thank you, Dadio Caspian Horses Rock. Probably like right around in that area, I guess. But they're making it sound like it was on the west side of the road. So was it on the same road that the... So she was found somewhere around in this area. Pathologist with the state office of the medical investigator made the determination shortly after 5 p.m. Thursday. Dr. Ross Zumwalt said the finding, well, let's see. Investigators did not find clothing among the remains Sunday by a man walking his dog on the west side of the road. The remains were spotted about a mile south of the Bobcat Bite restaurant under a grove of trees. Pathologist with the state office of the medical investigator made the determination shortly after 5 p.m. Thursday. Dr. Ross Zumwalt said the finding is based on the dental records flown into Albuquerque late Thursday from the woman's family. According to police reports, Montoya was spending the summer with her aunt, Debbie Valdez of Santa Fe, and was last seen here in June. However, Montoya was not reported missing to city police until July 30th. Captain Joe Garcia of the city police said Montoya was seen in Santa Fe with other people, but he declined to name them. Investigators said Montoya had been considered a possibility since the remains were found. The break came when city police detective John Martinez, who handled the missing person report, realized Montoya matched the description. Medical investigators and a consulting anthropologist determined the skeleton belonged to a short-statured woman in her early 20s. Preliminary tests also showed the skeleton had been at the site since last summer. Wow, so that was like a year later when she was found. An investigation into the death of a 19-year-old California woman whose remains were found near Santa Fe could be hampered by lack of evidence. Determining the cause of death for Roberta Michelle Montoya will be very difficult because her bones were recovered. Only her bones were recovered, said Dr. Roth Zumwalt of the Office of the Medical Investigator. As a result, investigators might only be able to determine if foul play was involved. Will not be able to determine. Well, yes, you know foul play was involved. Okay? Because her clothes wasn't around, so she just took off naked and just sort of, I'm gonna die now, and fell into the. I mean, just, it's obvious sometimes. Right now, we're going to classify it as an unsolved case. Hernandez also said sheriff and police detectives will continue the investigation. No clothing was found near the remains, and unusual circumstances could have been involved in the death, he said. Montoya of Irvine, California, visited relatives in Santa Fe last summer. Her aunt reported her missing July 30th. The body was discovered by a man who was walking his dog on the west side of Old Las Vegas Highway. And that's what this is. I just saw that right there. Old Las Vegas Highway, 1 mile south of the... right in the area. Let's just see what it looks like there. And he was walking his dog on the west, this side, so she was over here, like somewhere around in there ish. It's hard to say when they say, a mile. Was it 0.8? Right? By a man who was walking his dog on the west side of Old Las Vegas Highway, about a mile south of Bobcat Bite. The body was positively identified as Montoya. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next one. This is about a week later, 10 days later. That's just a Crime Stoppers. Yeah. And then... year and a half later, woman's death still a mystery. Let's see what this one is. Right, well, let's take a look at this. See, I noticed when they have some of these open file things, they give you some extra information in there. I'm sorry for all the squeaking. I'm trying to get comfortable here. Roberta Michelle Montoya arrived in Santa Fe at the end of March 1986. She was dead 3 months later. More than 2 years later, the mysterious circumstances surrounding the Montoya death have Santa Fe Sheriff Department detectives baffled. It is a death with few clues. We're stumped. We can't tell you how she died, Chief Deputy and Sheriff-elect Benji Montoya said. Montano. Despite a lack of clues, they believe she was murdered. Hey, thanks, Lee Dubby. Only 20 years old when she went to Santa Fe, Montoya traveled from her parents' home in Irvine, California, to visit relatives in northern New Mexico. It was a trying time for Montoya, her parents told law enforcement officials. Shortly before she left California, she lost custody of her 1-year-old son, and I wonder if that really is her, though, that got married there. But maybe she just had a different middle name. Sometimes there's multiple middle names. Because the age and everything makes sense, too. Let me see. Was she 18 in this one? Yeah, it doesn't say. We're stumped. We can't tell you how she died, Chief Deputy and Sheriff-elect Benji Montoya said. Only 20 years old when she came to Santa Fe. Soon after arriving in New Mexico, Montoya took a job waiting tables at a Klein's Corner truck stop. Oh boy. She lasted 4 weeks in the job before quitting. Investigators say they are not sure why she resigned. She lost touch with the relatives she had come to visit and drifted, living with friends and acquaintances. The behavior was not characteristic of Montoya, her mother told investigators. Her only immediate plans were to go back to California and gain custody of her boy, Montano said. She told friends she really missed the child and wanted to go back and get him. On July 4th, 1986, she visited a friend who was hospitalized. That's the last date someone can say they saw her. On July 30th, 1986, her New Mexican relatives reported her missing to the city police. But it took them about almost a month to report their own relative missing. Detectives made several attempts to find her, but with no luck. Almost a year later, on April 19th, 1987, an elderly man walking his dog at dusk along the old Vegas highway found her body about a mile south of Bobcat Bite Road. Really? When you say Bobcat Bite Road, I mean, is that an actual road now? I don't think that's... Let's see. Bobcat Bite Road? I don't think there is a road called that, is there? Yeah, that's just it's a restaurant. They had that wrong in the article there. It's not a road. It's actually a physical place. Just wanted to verify that. We find a lot of errors in these articles, don't we? Yeah, so again, almost a year later, on April 19th, 1987, an elderly man walking his dog at dusk along the old Vegas highway found her body about a mile south of Bobcat Bite. His Doberman pincher, which was running up and down the shoulder that separates the highway from Interstate 25, so I think we have that just absolutely nailed here, just based on what they just said right there. See? So here is, that's not the right one, it's this one right here. So this is 25, and, okay, that was the Bite. Where did we put that? It was 1 mile south, and he was on this side. Right, okay, there we go. So in between here and 25, the dog was running back and forth, returned to him with a bone in his mouth. The man examined the pet's find and realized the bone was human. He walked down into the grassy area and saw bones scattered all around. Deputies collected the bones and shipped the remains off to the office of the medical investigator at Albuquerque. Dental charts positively identified the body as Montoya's, but medical investigators found no clues on the skeleton that indicated how Montoya died, only that she had been dead about a year. It's kind of weird that she didn't have any clothes, no shoe or anything, Montoya said. Hey, I did pretty good right there, right? You thought that was just me riffing. Come on, that was method acting. It's not usual for remains weathered by the seasons and time to be found missing clothing, but usually there is an indication that the person was dressed. When you don't know what happened, it's hard to solve a crime. I bet you it has something to do with a trucker who, maybe she went back out to that place. The trucker raped her, drove down that freeway right there, dumped her body. As a matter of fact, I bet you there is, not far from here, I haven't seen it yet, that there's probably a way to get onto the freeway. So if you're on that side, let's see. If it's on this side, the car was probably driving north. And then, yeah, you get up here. Is there a way to get onto... Looks like there's some places you can turn and get onto the highway. I don't know. Looks like these go over it. Yeah, maybe like right here, right? So just down here... maybe they came off, went around like this. I don't know. It's hard to say, but they could have got back on the freeway down here, and then they just go back onto their trucking, wherever the hell they were heading, right? The interviews with friends were fruitless. Investigators traveled to Albuquerque, Utah, Arizona, and California following leads, but nothing came of the trips. A reputable psychic, following, preceding the word psychic with reputable is absolutely bunk journalism at its best, right? Like, it's it's ridiculous. I know there's a couple out there that people think that, but that there's some good ones. A reputable psychic who volunteers her services to local police agencies on the condition she not be identified. Well, that gives her more credibility then, right? Because as long as it also was consulted. She assured Montoya the crime would be solved, a prediction that has not come true. And yet you called her a reputable psychic. Investigators theorize Montoya was executed for an unknown reason. Now she wasn't executed. Okay? What makes you think that? I mean, maybe there was a gunshot to her head, but she was nude. Man, just think through it, everybody. Think through it. But they have no leads that would connect anyone with the crime. Your heart tells you it's a murder, but it's possible that she was hitchhiking and was the victim of a car accident. Oh my God. No wonder cases aren't solved over there. Wow. Whew. Did you just hear that one? I thought they were going to get onto something. Yeah, she was hitchhiking. I got picked up by a trucker, but instead they say, but it was possible that she was hitchhiking and was the victim of a car accident. Right. And it flung her from all of her clothing. It's weird sometimes, those crazy car accidents that you can... Idiot. Or perhaps she accidentally died and was left near the highway by someone trying to avoid police attention. Okay, well, that one's better than your other one, but it's also just lame. Okay? Lame. And then look at the final comment. We feel someone out there knows something. Well, yeah. There is somebody out there that knows something. The person who killed her. Thank you. Thank you for that incredible investigatory evaluation there. It was amazing. Today would have been Roberta. This is the last one on her. It says, this is from 1989. The last article is 1988. So there was another one. Today would have been Roberta Michelle Montoya's 23rd birthday. Montoya disappeared 3 years ago, and her scattered remains were found the next year. No one has been charged in her death, and local law enforcement officials say they still don't even know how Montoya died. An emotional letter to the New Mexican Montoya's family in Irvine, California wrote, "We miss her, we love her, and live with her beautiful memory. The family today will celebrate Roberta's life. The love and beauty she shared remains deep in our hearts, and today we extend our compassion and love to all the families of victims unsolved violent crimes in Santa Fe. Montoya is one of 8 women in Santa Fe whose deaths since 1983 have remained unsolved." Her mother, Margie Montoya, wrote, "Except the loss of a child, it's the most painful of losses." Let's see. She arrived in Santa Fe area March 1986. She was visiting relatives shortly after losing custody of her 1-year-old son in California. She reportedly planned to go back to California to see her son and fight for her, if we believe the other articles, or fight for the son, I mean. Soon after arriving in the area, she got a waitressing job at a truck stop in Klein's Corners. Well, let's see where that is. Interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to just say that was probably it. See, that's interesting because it works perfectly for where she was found. I mean, look at this. You go up this road right here, right? And you don't even leave it. And then at some point, I think this is the one. Or is this the other? God, there's so many cases. Okay, it's up there. So you would go up here, which goes past that other case, which is from yesterday. And then you go up on this freeway right here. You would actually just take this exit, drive up right here, dump her body, and then maybe somewhere up here, get back on the freeway. Who the hell knows where? Maybe up here in this area. Montoya was last seen by friends and relatives on July 4th, 1986, when she visited a friend in the hospital. On April 19th, 1987, a man walking his dog along, we've already got. Her body was found in an area where 2 years later a search team would also find the remains of Annette Gonzalez. See, they found another body in the same area 2 years later. Law enforcement officials have said there is no evidence to link the two deaths, except that. Okay, that is evidence right there. That somebody, like, what are the odds that two bodies are dumped in exactly the same spot, right? We prayed that she would be found, the Montoya family letter said, and 10 months later, we prayed to ease our pain and loss. So anyways, that one still isn't solved, but they do now think that those two are related. So maybe I'll just do Gonzalez. Let's see. I'm going to make a folder called completed, and that'll be the last one for the night. But you kind of have to do Gonzalez now, right? Okay, there we go. Okay. Santa Fe police Thursday remained uncertain if Annette Gonzalez, a 19-year-old reported missing by her parents since Sunday, has been abducted or voluntarily has left her family. Gonzalez was last seen 2 a.m. Sunday. We're checking out every lead we get, no matter how outrageous it sounds. Gonzalez's Toyota Corolla was found Tuesday night behind the State Highway Department, What does that mean? Behind the State Highway Department. Behind, is that, let me just type that in. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe it's New Mexico Department of Transportation over here. And this is... Are you guys finding this stuff interesting? I think it's crazy. All the stuff going on in the 80s, just in that small little area. Well, good. All right. Gonzalez's Toyota Corolla was found Tuesday night behind the State Highway Department by some of her friends. The car was not damaged. The car doesn't give us any indication one way or another. The car gave us no clues. Alright, so Grundler requests that Gonzalez contact police if she has left her family voluntarily. That was July 22nd. July 31st, missing woman's family starts reward fund. The family of Annette Gonzalez, a 19-year-old woman who has been missing for 2 weeks, has established a reward fund. Gonzalez was last seen July 17th as she left Club West. So let's see where that is. I bet it doesn't exist. Yeah. I guess Fish played there. What's in the Santa Fe, New Mexico? See, there it is, Club West. Oh, man. Is it going to have it on a map? Alright. Let's see. Oh, that'd be cool to find it this way. Put the... Oh, that's not it, you idiot. That didn't capture it. Oh, that was right there. Well, that's about the weirdest shit ever. Because look at that other case. Where Moody was dropped off. It's on the other side of the building. Oh boy. Could it be? You think that's a little bit weird? That this is where that club is, right next to... Oh man. I didn't see that mentioned anywhere. What we got? We got, what's this called? Club West. It's on the other side of the block. Yeah, so it was, you know, I don't know if it's named that anymore. It was 1991. It had a... That's what the GPS coordinates were of that building. See, because if you go back here, see it's Club West, Santa Fe, and then you... Right here it says, go to the map of it, right? And then you just put the coordinates in there. And that's where it ended up going. That's some nutty shit right there, right? Wow. So a Santa Fe nightclub. There have been. Let me just type in Santa Fe nightclub and see if it. Usually they stay nightclubs. Yeah, I mean, it's right in the same... Look, there's a nightclub right there. And that's the GPS coordinates they gave, so... I don't know. I don't know if it's... what the deal is there, but let me... Now, the other one over here was was the gallery. And this is supposed to be for Gonzalez, right? No, not... Yeah, Gonzalez. Right. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next article. Remains are those of missing women. Okay, now we see if we can find where these were. Human bones and clothing discovered last week near Bobcat Road. So now they're saying Bobcat Road again. Southeast of Santa Fe. Is there an actual Bobcat Road? Just that? No. That's way up there. That has nothing to do with it. I guarantee it they're talking about, again, the Bobcat Bite right there. Well, there's a Bobcat trail right there. So maybe that used to be something else. Oh, look at that. They even go on it. That's wild. Wow, this is one of those adventurous Google Earth people. Look at that shit. Look at this. Man, you might actually find a body on this road. And this is... I mean, hell, what was that right there, man? It looked like a... This is crazy. Well, thanks, Google Earth. How far did they go is what I want to know. Oh my god, they went all the way up here into like oblivion. I wonder if this guy was smoking a little bit at this point. I actually like it when they do this. I wish they did it all the time. It's fun. It's interesting to me. Especially sometimes when there's actually crimes on some of those where it's just like, who the hell would ever even have thought of it? I want to know where they turned around. So they went to right there, and then they realized, you know, they didn't tell me to go here at the office. No, it's still there, even though the blue went away. Let's see if it... Okay, this is where the guy went, yeah, and then went back. That's probably, probably not him. Yeah, so anyways, I think that's what they're saying, is that she was found pretty close to the same area. What was the last one we just did? That was Michelle Montoya, right? There it is. Thanks, Claudia Neubauer. So the breakdown on the last one we did on this article is she was 20, died July 1986. Montoya moved to Santa Fe in March of that year after losing custody of her son. She worked for a month as a waitress in Klein's Corners. She was last seen by friends July 4th when she went to visit a friend in the hospital. Local relatives didn't report her missing till July 30th. The next April, a man walking his dog along Old Las Vegas Highway came across her skeletal remains about a mile south of Bobcat Road. Investigators could never determine how Montoya died. The presumed killing remains unsolved. Okay, so that's all they had in that article. All right, so now we're on to the Gonzales again. So it says, human bones and clothing discovered last week near Bobcat Road, southeast of Santa Fe, are those of Annette Gonzalez, a Santa Fe woman who disappeared 8 months ago. A skull found in January in the same area off Interstate 25 also is Gonzalez, Montoya said. Medical investigators originally believed the skull was that of a 30-year-old man who had been dead at least 6 months. The cause of Gonzalez's death has not been determined by the State Office of Medical Investigators. Though the case is being treated as a homicide, police have no suspects. We have to start all over again. Gonzalez, who would have turned 20 in December last week, was seen about 2 a.m. July 17th when she dropped off a cousin in the parking lot of Mr. Steak. Now we got a little different. Let's see, Mr. Steak Restaurant on Carias Road. Let's hope it's still there. Okay, so let's see if there's a steak. Okay, it's probably Outback Steakhouse because that's on this road right here. So this is another place, I guess. All right. So it was 2 a.m. July 17th when she was dropped a cousin off in the parking lot. Her white 1988 Toyota Corolla was found 2 days later behind the State Highway Department building at Cordova and Carrillos Road. Okay. Cordova and that's basically that's the one. That's the one I picked. So it's right there, and this is the transportation department. Okay. So we got that one right. The clothing and bones used in the identification were found by sheriff deputies and state correction department tracking dogs within a mile of the home where the skull was reported. Monday morning, Gonzalez' mother identified the clothing. Monday afternoon, the Office of Medical Investigator confirmed the skull was Gonzalez, the bones including vertebrae, rib bones, and a femur. The search of the Bobcat Road area near the old Las Vegas highway where the skull was found was delayed from January to March because of snow and mud lasting several weeks. Monday's snowstorm will prevent sheriff's deputies from making additional searches. Dr. Chris Sperry of the Medical Investigator's Office said he learned only Monday that Gonzalez had been in a car accident last May and there were x-rays of her skull. Asked about the original report, the skull was that of an older man. Sperry said the skull does resemble males. We took measurements, he said. 19 times out of 20, you'd be right. Gonzalez was a daughter of Carlos A. and Andela Gonzalez of Santa Fe. Several family members and friends gathered at the Gonzalez home Monday afternoon. In December, the Gonzalez purchased a newspaper advertisement in the form of a birthday greeting and celebrated a mass for her at their house. Gonzalez is the second young woman in the past 2 years to be found off I-25 near Bobcat Road. In April 1987, a man found the body of Michelle Montoya. Montoya said Monday the idea that the same person might have killed Gonzalez and Montoya has occurred to him. I've got it put in my mind and I can't put it out, he said. Well, good for you. Thank God. Somebody with a brain out there. Unbelievable. And an Albuquerque lawyer who had studied the disappearance and deaths of several Santa Fe women said Monday that the identification of Gonzalez fits into his theory that one person is responsible. Luis Marjan said Gonzalez, like the other women, was young, independent, clean-cut, and alone. And sadly, I couldn't find this A1 right here, which was really important. It didn't exist. It sucked. Okay, so this is part of a 1990 article right here. She disappeared in July 1988. Her skeletal remains were discovered off the old Las Vegas highway. Early this year, a gag order was imposed on medical investigators to prevent disclosure of the cause of her death. See, I think they think that there's a link, and they don't. Now they're trying to cover up and hide the actual cause of death. Carlos Gonzalez, Annette's father, said Sunday police used the wrong type of dye in lifting fingerprints from Annette's car, which was found in the State Highway and Transportation Department parking lot. It's kind of a weird place to put that, right? Gonzalez said during a disagreement with a high-ranking Santa Fe police officer that the officer threatened to drop the case. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department took over the investigation when Annette's skeletal remains were found southeast of the city. Gonzalez said the secretary received a ransom call from someone demanding $20,000 shortly after his daughter's disappearance. Police urged the family not to publicize the call. Alright, so that was, and then 2001, police keep focus on cold cases. Over the past 27 years, a string of at least 28 unsolved killings and disappearances in the Santa Fe area has stymied detectives. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of people. The case include a group of young women between the age of 19 and 25 who disappeared or were killed mostly during the 1980s. Some, but not all the women, found murdered in the 80s were sexually assaulted, and there were theories at the time that some of the killings of young women were linked or were the work of a serial killer operating in the Santa Fe area. Since December 2000, detectives from the Santa Fe Police Department have been trying to systematically solve the cold cases, crimes in which leads didn't produce solutions. A cold case unit was formed specifically to review and reinvestigate all the department's unsolved killings. The team is comprised, well, we don't really know these people. Let's see. Now he said they have been resigned to the cold case detectives in the hope that they can find some crucial pieces of evidence. All of the cases are solvable if we don't forget about them. One reason technology has evolved and DNA can provide evidentiary links where none existed before. First Judicial District Attorney Henry Valdez said Tuesday that methods of evidence gathering have improved greatly since the 1980s, giving police a greater ability to lift latent prints and identify suspects through DNA. Well, hopefully you guys have it, right? Because you said you had it in some of the other cases. Let's see. Nunez said that in many cases it's just a matter of getting the one small piece of information that will crack these things open. Adela and Carlos Gonzalez of Santa Fe say that finding out who is responsible for the 1988 killing of their daughter Annette, 19, would give them final closure. Yeah, I don't think so. On Monday, Carlos Gonzalez compared the possibility of finding Annette's killer to the relief he felt when his daughter's remains were found after 9 months of searching. Yeah, so anyways, you can tell that they too think that there's something going on in that area. And it's just kind of obvious, really. I mean, honest to God, it's just, Ugh. Anyways, I gotta get off of here. My shoulder's starting to hurt a little bit. But thank you all for the supporting the channel. Emily Flotilla, Kit Kat, Lee Dobby, Allie Cake, Sarah Brown, Emily Flotilla, Carolina T. I was just reading your note that you sent me a long time ago today. Thank you. Miss Skiss, Michelle Nicholas, Dario Caspi versus Rock, Liz Parsons, Jen H, Walter Dinsmore, Darrell Greggs a couple times, 3 times there, CC, BKK, CC sent me the email, I'll check it out. Allie Kate, Chrissy Paradis, Cindy Leon, Juju Positive, Emily Flotilla, Dario Caspi versus Rock, Lee Dobby, and Claudia Neubauer. So anyways, I still have more to go. I have like 4 more cases to go over that one, and 2 of them were a serial killer, and you kind of wonder if that serial killer was responsible for the other ones, but just didn't say anything because they couldn't really make a direct link to him. All right. So that is it, everybody. Hope you guys found that interesting. I did. I don't read all of the stuff while I'm gathering it because I like to be surprised when I'm reading it. I just read like a paragraph or something and maybe try to figure some locations out, but that's it. Sounds like there was a serial killer in New Mexico, especially the Santa Fe area in the 1980s. That's what I think. And I've never heard anybody talk about these ones before. It's weird, I don't know why. Maybe, New Mexico doesn't have the same cachet as, say, Iowa or some shit like that, right? But all right, everybody. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Make sure you're washing your hands, wearing your masks, and maintaining social distancing. It works. All right, everybody? So thank you guys very much. Thanks for supporting the channel. We got our donation night at the end of the month. Thank you, Emily Flotilla. And then also, as I said before, we've got let's see. Got Megan. And then
Good night wave hand with finger splayed hand waving.
Rochelle Black. And then, let's see, where's that one? Is that today too? No, it was 26th. Yeah, I'm trying to find the one that I saw earlier. Yeah, I can't find it. I mentioned it though. Oh yeah, there it is. And then also Calvin. So thank you very much. All right, everybody. Thank you all for showing up tonight. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda.
Oh my god, Laura! Oh my god, look at Laura! She said, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! She must have never seen this before!
I'm gonna
Even though we do it every single night for the last 3 months!
Reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Hey, that was fun! Hey, that was an interesting show!
What do you mean fun? That's not PC to say that it's fun to look into crime.
I know, but I enjoy looking into crime. It's like putting together a puzzle.
I know, but there's a lot of morally superior people out there that'll complain wildly if you say any word that doesn't fit how they think you should say it.
Hey, good point there, John Boy. Hey, John Boy, good night!
Good night, Mary Lou. Wow, did we get through this one?
Well, we were until you said that, but anyways, good night.
Hey, wow. Hey, whoa. That was like a miracle. I think they They were able to get through it. They said goodnight that time. All right, everybody. Be safe out there.